Hi, I'm Stevie Lee, former defensive tackle for the University of Texas.
And I'm Clyde Hargrove. I'm a roofer.
I also saw action in 52 games.
And I fix a lot of roofs.
Also won a Rose Bowl and never lost to A&M.
And I fix a lot of roofs, right, Stevie?
Oh, right. I'm sorry, I zoned out a little bit.
So are you going to say that thing about Hargrove Roofing?
Hargrove Roofing. Know who's on your roof.
Is this even going to work as a commercial?
This is a complete football team, every sense of the word. So they're good enough to win the whole thing.
All right, you heard it straight from the two-time national champion head coach Dabo Swinney. He gave Texas the ultimate compliment. He's quite fond of Steve Sarkisian. Stevie, this is the week, and this is the first time we've ever had an episode of the Pass Rush with Stevie Lee talking about a college football playoff game on a home field of a university. Your thoughts?
That is crazy that we're here now, man. I'm so happy it's game week. I'm ready to talk about it.
Hey. Oh, my God. 3, 2, and 1. And we have lots to talk about. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about all the local tie-ins, namely the Westlake Chaparral tie-in. And there's a lot of connections between Clemson and Texas. It goes beyond the two head coaches. Stevie Lee, let's ride.
Let's ride.
You know, Dabo, for a long, long time, has been winning a lot of games at Clemson. I think this is their 7th, college football playoff appearance. He's won 2 national titles. And this team really embodies what his teams have embodied over the years. They're really disciplined, very few penalties.
So we heard from Dabo to start out the top of the show. We heard from Steve Sarkisian, both complimentary. Both, honestly, I know Dabo's the more achieved head coach coaching career. But when you think about these two, I mean, Dabo played at Alabama, was a walk-on. We know the story. And what he's built at Clemson. I mean, if you go back and look back at Dabo Swinney's story, he was a position coach. And when Clemson made a coaching change mid-season, I believe it was 09, they took a gamble that the Clemson faithful weren't too sure about. This guy who was a walk-on at Alabama earned a scholarship and just went all in on Dabo, and he's been there a while now, 7 times now that he has led a team to the college football playoffs. This is number 2 for Steve Sarkisian. I mean, Stevie, on the outside looking in, from that perspective, what are your thoughts?
Even though, he's gone to the college football playoffs 7 times, no one has ever played a home away game in the college football playoffs. So this is different. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if Clemson going to come in and not even care that it's a home game because they're fighting for their lives, right? They're fighting for one more week of play. So, and then Texas, we don't know how Texas is going to be because Texas is trying to fight for one more week of play as well. So it's kind of up in the air what's going to happen this weekend. I'm really excited about it, man. I can't wait. It's going to be a beautiful day in Austin, Texas. We're not in the cold weathers like the other games are going to be, So it's a great time for college football right now.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
And before we move forward, I am Sean Clinch, the host of Stories Inside the Man Cave. Stevie Lee, the co-host of this particular series, the Pass Rush of Stevie Lee. You'll see him on other episodes as well. And we would not be able to do this without the support from our family and friends with the Hargrove family that is out of Shreveport, Louisiana. And they are in the Austin, Texas area and other parts of Texas. And they do a great job. And they make it very personal from a positive perspective. And Stevie Lee is that smiling face for Hargrove Roofing, and he represents them well, needless to say.
Hargrove Roofing, know who's on your roof.
That's right. Hey, be sure to follow us on each of our social media platforms. And, yeah, we're about to dive deep And I think there doesn't need to be a drum roll. We just need a hype video so we can go ahead and get this discussion underway, and we'll dive deep into it because it is the college football playoff week. Let's go, Stevie. That's good pregame music, by the way.
Good.
That's got to be. Would that music work for you back in the day before you hit the tunnel?
No question. It works for me right now. I'm ready to go.
So Clemson's old hat in this game, and to Stevie's point, I mean, we really have no idea. Home field advantage will be a factor, but Clemson's experienced one. But they're not the same type of Clemson teams from, let's just say, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But this one element of this, Stevie, this is the first time that Dabo Swinney will be at DKR for an actual Texas game. And it's funny, he told the story about his first time when he was hired. He came to visit your former head coach.
And I spent 2 or 3 days with Coach Mack Brown, and that was very impactful for me. But I've only been at one game at that stadium, and that was to see Cade Klubnik play in a playoff game. And ironically, visited with Coach Sark. We stood down in the end zone there. But so what an opportunity! I mean, what a magical, historic place to go play a football game. I've never played Texas. I've never been to, obviously played in that stadium or anything. So I'm super excited about it.
See, and then he was recruiting, and we're going to obviously talk about Cade, just a good human being. Each of the guys tied, we're going to talk about just good human beings, good players. When you think of Dabo, what's the first thing that comes to mind from you, looking from as a fan and a guy who, went through the recruiting game? I mean, he has a lot of skins on the wall, so to speak.
Golly, man. Why would you ask me that question? I particularly, man, there's a lot of Sean.
Yeah.
I'm not fond of the guy at all.
That's fine.
I really am not. It was an interview before we started talking NIL and things like that. There was an interview that he did, and he said that we're going to run into a problem when kids start to feel entitled. And no, that word did not sit well with me, because here he is sitting up here making $4 million a year off the backs of these kids. And you want to call the kids entitled to ask for name, image, and likeness. And so I did not like that. And then he doubled down on it in another interview on ESPN. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, and then he tripled down on it again. Like, that was his running talking points, that the kids are getting entitled and we should not be paying the kids. Well, I played the sport, and I am so happy that some of these kids, I mean, just the numbers is not going to work. Every kid in college football is not going to play on the next level to make money.
Right.
I did not play on the next level to make money. But if I would have left school with $100,000 in my pocket, or $50,000 in my pocket, or even $30,000 in my pocket, it would have catapulted and helped me start my career, start my family, and things like that. And so after he has made millions off college football, let these kids make, in the tens of thousands of dollars, So the way he had talked about it, it was really, man, I'm going to be honest with you, just disgusting to me. And so I'm not a fan of Dabo, and I hope we whoop ass this weekend. But he's still a coach. You have to respect what he's done over there, and right. I do respect what he's done over there. And so at Clemson and turning a program around like that, and I'm glad that they pay him. But also we got to pay the kids that's actually on the field. So I'm sorry if I went negative, but that's just how I feel.
I mean, that's good, because we want real. We want to hear real.
Yeah.
Everything's not always sunshine and roses, and everyone has an opinion, and you should. And I respect that, Stevie. Man, that's good because a lot of people see everything from a surface level. And I've gone off, and sometimes my opinions are way off. It doesn't mean I'm right.
Yeah.
I'm human. We're all entitled to an opinion. Doesn't mean we always have to speak it, but that's an opinion, that side that people need to hear, Stevie.
Yeah.
I like him, but I thought that he was behind in accepting the NIL game. There's a lot of coaches, I mean, that don't like it. You know? But, at the time, and that may be part of the reason that they kind of slipped a little bit, but, it's a locomotive, and we're going to get into that NIL and the transfer portal here shortly. But real quick, when you look at here's the brackets. This is round one. These are all of the we talked about it last week. 3 of the 4 hosts on the first round games are cold weather cities. I think it may be 70 degrees perfect here in Austin, Texas. The winner will go to Atlanta, the Peach Bowl, to face Arizona State. We went into it last week. It doesn't matter really what we think, but I think our opinions are the same. Just because you win a conference champion or you're one of the 4 highest ranked conference champions does not mean you should get a first round bye. I think the top 4 in the country in the rankings should receive a first round bye.
Yeah.
So that's what it looks like, just to give you a refresher on what the bracket will look like. It's very confusing. But, Stevie, what you know about Clemson, what's your elementary, and I already said it once, that term, surface level, what's your game plan for Texas versus Clemson, if you had to?
My game plan is to sometimes we at the University of Texas, we'll come out a little flat, especially if we start out on offense.
Right.
We need to have a really good, sustainable drive on offense if we get the ball first. If the defense get the ball first or get out on the field first, and Clemson's offense is out there, we need a 3 and out to get the ball to our offense. So we need to start out the game. Sometimes we start out the game with some of these lows, and we have to work our way, massage our way into the game. We need to come out on fire for the first half at the start of the game, and then we need to come out on fire out of the locker room after the second half or going out of halftime. So we need to clean up coming out of the locker room, period. So that's my key of the game, because the rest, all the other phases of the game, we're right there and we're on fire. You know what I'm saying? We need to start on fire and finish on fire throughout the whole game. A perfect, clean game. You know?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's Stevie's game plan. I don't have one for me, but who we're going to talk about right now, Cade Klubnik. I mean, the guy has to be accounted for. He has great receivers. The guy can he's a dual threat.
Yeah.
He keeps plays alive. And Cade Klubnik is obviously a hometown guy. Played at Westlake on those. Part of the reason they won back-to-back state championships. And as we speak, Westlake is still alive for another one currently. But Cade Klubnik, you mentioned Dabo, his first trip to here, other than meeting with the first game that he saw, was to watch Cade Klubnik. For Cade, this is going – Texas has to use that linebacker speed that they have, like with Anthony Hill, to neutralize Cade, because he will beat teams with his feet. I think Texas can score 24-plus points on this team. I do. Texas will score at least 24 points. But can Clemson score 25-plus to win the game? That's the key here, because they're going to have a downfield passing attack I don't think that Texas has seen this year, because that's to me what's going to be the difference. Can these DBs hold up? And the Texas defensive tackles are a little thin right now because of the portal. But and other, I think some minor injuries, but that's going to. I think Sark had mentioned today, in the press conference on earlier, said it's not going to affect the depth on the D line for game. It's going to affect the depth for practice, and as you know, the games should be easy. The practices are usually the toughest.
Yeah,
but isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So my take on what's the quarterback's name?
Cade Klubnik.
Kate. I almost said Case. Kate. So my game plan for him is putting people in his face.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've seen fast enough a defense as fast as we are.
Right.
So he can scramble, and he may scramble a little bit, and try to get out of the pocket to throw the ball. But once you start scrambling against us, you don't have time to throw. You're going to have to continue to scramble, or you're going to get hit in the mouth. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're fast, and we're going to. If you might can get away from us, but you won't get away from us enough time to step back, set your feet, and then try to throw it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think we're too fast for that.
I don't think
on the sideline. Our defense is the fastest in the country.
Yeah, arguably the best defense in the country and one of the best in UT football history. I don't think in the ACC there's any team that has any defense remotely like UT's.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I
agree with you.
I don't see it. So to Cade Klubnik, if you're on social media, saw it. They celebrated the fact that he's coming home when the CFP announcement happened, and then Cade being the competitor that he is, this is going to be a big-time reunion for him for many reasons. But this is Klubnik basically, he's trying to downplay it now to focus on the task at hand instead of the homecoming.
I've kind of drifted away and really just kind of focus on the preparation that comes with it since then. But I think once I get there, it'll definitely be a little wild, flying into that airport and making that drive and stuff. And yeah, it'll be cool.
And he comes from a family of Aggies. So he's obviously the first to go to Clemson, and he is Dabo was a big part of his recruitment, so to speak.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on him and what he said, flying back home for the first time to play a game.
Yeah, he was trying to clean it up. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. He was just trying to clean it up. But that's good for him to be able to play a college football game in his hometown. I wish I could have done that. That means
a big time game.
That if I'd have played a home game in college, that means we had a terrible year and had to go to the Independence Bowl.
Yeah.
So good for him for having I'm sure half of Westlake will be rooting for Texas and half of Westlake will be rooting for him.
Yeah, 100%. And the Klubnik family, great people. I think it's funny when you see legacies in this case of like Aggies. They're going to have to, obviously they're going to be dressed up for Clemson, but Westlake folks are going to. I don't know. It'll be fun, and this is what's really good about it. So for Klubnik, he was obviously the quarterback for Westlake. I remember going to this game at Arlington. Todd Dodge played against his son, who succeeded him at South Lake Carroll. They met in what they called the Dodge Bowl. It was beautiful. What wasn't beautiful about it, it was the COVID season in which the state championships had to be played in January of 2021. And this was in Arlington at Cowboy Stadium. So I went. It was amazing. And Westlake tore up Mike Quinn. Mike Quinn was a former Stephen F. Austin quarterback who played for the Texans. Quinn Ewers. And this was a Michael Taft, who's one of the best DBs in the country, a former walk-on for Texas and a Westlake chaparral. This was one of the highlights from that game in which Taft picked off Quinn Ewers.
Downfield, and that's picked off by Taft. He's done it again.
Was that a one-hander?
game. It's his second interception tonight, and that is a one-hander.
Wow.
Wow. Look at this. Quinn Ewers, I apologize. I'm having flashbacks to 1997. I have no idea why.
That's funny, man. That was a great athletic catch of Taft. That was awesome.
Unreal, under-recruited, and he is a prime example of things are meant to be. Your path is in front of you, and he gambled on himself and took a risk, and it paid off for him.
Absolutely.
Preferred walk-on, took it.
Yep.
Over scholarship offers.
Yeah, that's good. We're happy he did it because he's playing very well for us, man.
Yeah, and Ethan Burke was on that team, and there were other members of that Westlake team who are playing for Texas. And there's other Texas kids on this Clemson team who either were offered by Texas or weren't, and they get to come home. That's the beauty of this matchup, and you can find Texans on every roster. And then the other one, Andrew Makuba, playing his first few years at Clemson, and then from LBJ High School here and coming back, he's been a huge addition for the Longhorns. Your thoughts on Makuba and just how all this – I know it's coincidence, but your thoughts on this? I mean, there's so many elements to this.
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of this because the portal is open and wide open.
Right.
And coaches cannot really control where the kids go after they leave your university, man. But these are really good storylines for this game. The first, home game, home playoff game, and then you got all these storylines on top of it. I think this is really cool. Like I said, it's really cool for college football right now, man. Makuba, hopefully he can give us some pointers on their what they do over there. So,
they've already had those meetings.
Yeah, they had those meetings already.
Watching film.
Yeah.
So let's dive into this. I'm not a big prediction guy, but I'll start it, Stevie. I'll say Texas 33-20.
33-20.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not a big predictions guy either, but I do see us winning. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Okay. That's where we need to nip it in the bud and move on. And we all know this is new, honestly, new territory because it's a 12-team format, but it's also new because you start the games on the march to the national championship much earlier. I mean, this time of year, usually when the first bowl games start, there's already been one, and there's another one coming up soon. But you have all the postseason awards, the Heisman. We've had that. There was no doubt who the Heisman Trophy winner should be, in my opinion. I know Ashton Junty from Boise State was a guy I was pulling for. Travis Hunter got it, but you got to admit, Big Kelvin Banks winning the Lombardi and the Outland, the Interior Lineman Award, two prestigious honors, and then Jahdae Barron. I think, to me, because I spent time in Oklahoma City where the Thorpe Award originates and it's home, that's kind of Heisman point 2.0. And obviously the best defensive back in the country. Was there ever any doubt in your mind that he was the best defensive back in the country from what you know?
No, I seen him and I love watching him play. But I didn't think that the writers saw what we were seeing,
Right.
And so I know he was on the watch list and things like that, but it was surprising to me when I saw the video on Instagram that the Texas football put out with Michael Huff giving him the letter, and
that was awesome.
That was a great video by them, man. It was really good by the video team over there and the marketing team over there. But it was really heartfelt. It was touching that one Thorpe Award winner gave him the letter that's on staff over there, Michael Huff.
Yeah.
And then they called FaceTime Eric Ross. So we got 3 Thorpe winners at the University of Texas. And, They were all in the room, or basically all in the room together. Aaron Ross was on FaceTime, but that was a really cool video, a really cool moment for Barron, and there was a really cool moment for the University of Texas.
No, I thought it was. And that Derek Ochoa, who we'll have on this podcast soon, he's the one that leads that digital team, and they do a badass 5-star All-American job. And I'm not just saying that because they work at UT. As long as I've known Derek, since he's been there since I was in the media.
Oh, yeah.
Back in my media days. And that guy, you talk about hustles. He's a good instructor. He sees the storytelling through the lens, if you will, and what they produce. And, you know, a lot of people across the country are doing that. Those of you watching on the Texas Legacy Sports Network, you can watch this entire episode on the podcast Facebook page or YouTube page. We are only showing you parts of our episodes, which are strictly dedicated to Texas Longhorn sports. We appreciate you watching, and, you know, go follow Stevie Lee as well. And a big shout out to Billy Dell, former Longhorn who played for Darrell K. Royal, who has invited us to be a part of the Texas Legacy Sports Network. And again, if you want to watch the rest of this episode 437, go visit and like both of our YouTube page, subscribe for free, and on our Facebook page. And we appreciate you watching Stories Inside the Man Cave Podcast.